Welcome to the Ball and Blockchain podcast. I'm Nils Smith, and I'm actually at Nils Smith on Instagram. We're talking about Instagram today. Justin, welcome to the podcast. Let's talk Instagram.
Good call for the plug at Justin McKelvey on Instagram, which, Instagram NFTs, huh? Is that a thing?
It seems like it's about to become a thing. Maybe even the time this podcast is out. So the Zuck made an announcement that NFTs are coming to Instagram. Now, we don't know what that means. We don't know what that looks like, but the Zuck has teased it a little bit, and we have already. They're not the first social network to come to integrate NFTs into their platform. Twitter already did that, but Justin, I'm curious what you're hearing or seeing or thinking when it comes to Instagram and NFTs.
I have no clue. So I haven't thought much about this at all, but I can start with Twitter that you just mentioned.
Yes.
I got on the Twitter NFT wagon just to see how they integrated it, what was going on. I think we talked about this a little bit before, but essentially if you sign up for Twitter Blue, which is like a subscription for a couple bucks a month, they allowed you to integrate your NFT wallet. So then you could show off a picture as your profile picture, and then they verified it. So you could also screenshot something and just stick it there and kind of cheat, and then everybody online kind of calls you out for being a cheater, even though whatever. But so I did that and tried it out. It's pretty cool to be able to set it up that way. And I'm intrigued on if Instagram is going to go that same route of we just want to be able to make your profile picture show off that you're an NFT owner. And like previous episode, if that's the case, if you own a Bored Ape and you want that to be your profile picture, which is kind of the trend what a lot of people are doing, I wonder if you can show that off on Instagram and that continues to grow that NFT following. Another thought is that just came up as I was talking. What if you're a Bored Ape holder? There are 10,000 of those. If they allow you to instantly or quickly find all the other NFT holders of that collection and befriend them. So you can instantly create like a private, I'm friends with all the people that are in my club. Go. Something like that, since you can track, since Instagram knows who that person is, you could verify it. And the other side of that is you can verify who owns all of these things because it's public knowledge on blockchain.
Interesting.
Just a thought.
It's a great thought. I hadn't gone down that path at all. Where my mind had gone was a very different path based on a lot of the rumors. I feel like it's not an original thought here, but it's that Instagram would be getting into the marketplace. You know, that I think people know. Yep. Zuck likes the buck. I just made that up. You're welcome for that.
T-shirt. Check out the new T-shirts on the website.
But they're looking to make money, and I think we've seen OpenSea is not awesome. OpenSea is the primary marketplace for NFTs, and it's not easy to navigate. They could use some of what Meta has done well, or Facebook has done well, is they build good technology, and I feel confident that they'll be able to build good technology that integrates NFTs with their development team. And so I have anticipated more of a marketplace for NFTs built into Instagram as a place to show off and to sell your NFTs, and basically use it as a kind of an auction site, almost like an eBay. And we've already seen they've done this with Facebook Marketplace, for your physical goods. And so it would be interesting for them to use their same technology with crypto and selling your digital goods through an NFT store.
Interesting. Yeah, as you started to say that, 'cause I really hadn't put any thought to it at all. It's like somebody else did it, somebody else is going to do it. I tried to mentally check out the last week or two on a lot of NFT crypto things just for mental sanity that I needed. So I didn't allow myself to think about it too much, but now that you're saying it, it's pretty exciting thinking about the creative aspect of as like the software side of me, they've created a marketplace already.
Yep.
Super easy to take that exact same functionality and go, we're going to do that. We're just going to validate that you own that thing before you can sell that thing.
Yes.
And then we'll just display the pictures because the pictures already exist or whatever that is.
Yes.
Super interesting way to do an exchange that way. I wonder how showing them off makes a lot of sense. If they're going to do a marketplace, I'm really intrigued on how they're going to do the buying and selling, because that means they'll have to integrate with Ethereum,
digital
essentially.
Wallets.
Mostly Ethereum at this point, but other platforms to sell.
Yes. Yes.
That's super interesting because you'll have to validate a wallet. You'll have to set that up. You'll have to make sure it all works. Man,
Yes.
I'm
Well,
ready to sit down and take some notes after this. I'm excited.
well, and practically though, Twitter has done that, and they've done it though in a very simple way of you have to connect your wallet to prove ownership of your profile picture that you integrate into Twitter, and they stopped there. I think though, when you've already done that level of integration, I think that next level of integration is really not nearly as complicated. It's just making sure you have that integration with those digital wallets. Now, I say that it's just so simple. It's just blockchain. It's all real simple.
When you said that, I had like two thoughts of like, yeah, and three of like, absolutely not. What are you talking about? Because yes, if I do totally agree. If you can validate to say, I'm Justin on this is my wallet, and I can log in with that, or I can integrate it to my email, whichever way they did that, to say like I own all of these things.
Yes.
Then you can show those things off, which is what Twitter did, which is great.
Yes.
But the next step is if you already own an exchange and you know how that works, you could put them on an exchange, cool. But then if you want to exchange an NFT with me, now they have to build the ability to change blockchain or to update that piece to say, you used to own this, now I need to own this. And how do you trade? It's not just trade, if you need to buy it into your wallet. So you're really getting into the details of creating new contracts and money, which clearly they have the resources to do. But I'm just thinking through the details of what are the steps they actually have to take to close that loop on, we want to own all things NFT, which they could potentially do. They have the most, maybe they don't after TikTok, but they have the most followers in the world. So they could do whatever they want there and try to own the marketplace platform.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm actually looking at Instagram right now, and I had forgotten that they had already created a marketplace within Instagram. And so essentially they could just add to that marketplace NFTs and just have an NFT marketplace. And then when you go to pay, it will be interesting because I think with OpenSea, and it's interesting, I just got my Dapper Dino is one of my NFTs, and I got an offer in OpenSea today for USDC, I believe, which was my first time to get a direct. Typically I get ETH or WETH, those offers, and then I've got to translate in my head, okay, that's about $2,100. But it's interesting with USDC, what that looks like. Now, lots of rumors too about Facebook having their own cryptocurrency that has seemingly been squashed a couple of times. And I had heard that it was going to be completely squashed, but who knows what would develop there if you would have to use their cryptocurrency for any NFT trades, or if that would essentially theirs was going to be a stable coin. But yeah, it's interesting.
I know. As we're talking, since I haven't looked at anything, I'm like, I'm going to Google something, and the first article is Instagram is getting NFTs, but what the hell does that mean? So just super funny that's the top. And then they talk about Bored Apes right away. Just like, is it going to be Bored Apes? Yeah. I think that's interesting, just tying in a lot of people are speculation, right? They're just tying in the marketability of what Facebook could do since they have so many people's eyes and following already. So super intriguing, and the technology, and they can create anything new. Hence, let's create metaverse. So if you're doing metaverse stuff, it makes a lot of sense to be like, well, I want to be represented as my NFT avatar in metaverse as opposed to my face with VR. I don't know. There's a lot of options there.
And I think that's where it's hard to, even as we look at as we look at Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, and a lot of the talk is where Web 3 is going. When Web 2 was developed, Web 1 didn't go away. So the information superhighway is still there. We just added social media, and we added, mobile, and we added interactivity, and so many elements to basically the internet and how we use the internet and the devices we have to use the internet. Same thing, virtual reality headsets, AR, so many things is part of Web 3. But Web 2 will still exist. And so Instagram, in many ways, and I think what you and I are often looking at is what are going to be those things that help bridge people into Web 3, because it's not buying an NFT is too complicated for most. It's confusing to set up a digital wallet. It's confusing to buy Ethereum or to get it into a wallet where you can actually use it, because you can't buy an NFT with Gemini, or even with the plain Coinbase. Yep. You got to then move it into MetaMask or into, one of these other wallets. And, we, with Crossover Collectibles, we chose Bitsky because people can buy an NFT with credit card. That simplifies the process. But even still, it's essentially just converting it to Ethereum for them. So that is bridging, what we're used to with Web3. But it really is, I think we've got to simplify, how people get into these Web3 platforms and how people get into cryptocurrency. And in many ways, you've got to get into cryptocurrency so that you can get into NFTs. And it's complicated. And I think if Instagram, and Meta at the end of the day they've obviously got the attention, the eyeballs, the user base, that they can be an incredible bridge for people to now start moving into digital assets and ownership and what that might look like. So, and at the end of the day, they want to make money, and so they're looking for ways to keep people's attention and to, as Mark Zuckerberg often has said, how to basically create toll booths, so that people can, instead of just charging millions of dollars for ads, let's just charge little tolls, along the way where it doesn't feel like a big hit while you're using the platform.
Interesting. So one of the platforms that holds the most people's attention in the world is fighting for, every time there's something new that comes up, it's they're going to continue to fight for more attention, more ways to set the buzzer off on your phone. Yep. So you look back and open the thing again, and then they can put up more ads potentially. But just thinking of the end results here. But I don't know.
Well, I think too, the other interesting thing, Justin, with digital assets is the transaction fee tied to them. And so if they can become a hub for exchange, NFTs, I think, are being resold much faster than physical items. And so if somebody buys, say, a bicycle off of Facebook Marketplace, they're probably going to use that bike for 3-5 years, and then they're going to resell it again, and it's going to be worth less. And then if Facebook takes a piece of that, I don't know how Marketplace works, but thinking generally, they're always looking to get a little piece of it. And then if they can basically be that hub for exchange of these digital assets that maybe flip once a month, and they can really take these kind of micro exchange fees and at scale with their user base, and it creates a really unique revenue stream for them that isn't advertising. And so where so much of their revenue has been dependent on advertising in the past, it actually creates an interesting new income stream for them.
Yeah. I think thinking of how they did the exchange and getting $1 from every transaction, just to be if millions of people are using it and we get $1 per transaction, there are 5 million transactions a day because everybody's buying and selling. That's quick money. With what they did with the marketplace initially was they launched it locally only, so there was no actual dollar amount exchange on the app. It was just, hey, do you want to buy a table from your neighbor? Here's where only within a 50-mile radius initially or something like that. And it was all free. I mean, because you had to do the exchange in person, similar to a Craigslist. Then it turned into, hey, you're selling a pair. I mean, right now I'm selling a pair of shoes. Do you want to sell a pair of shoes? How far do you want to go? Do you want that to be local only? Or are you willing to use our, quote, discounted awesome pricing, which includes a fee for them to sell that in the U.S. only? So you can expand that reach if the item is shippable.
Interesting.
Everything is shippable now, but it took them a while to release that option. Initially, hey, let's just try to get as many users as we can using it, and if it makes a lot of sense, then we'll also say, now let's add wallet fees and that kind of stuff. So
interesting.
I'm intrigued of how that can grow over time if they end up doing a feature release that is, hey, just exchange these or give NFTs away to your audience for free. That way there's no need for exchanges and dollar value exchanges. And then if that catches, they put marketing efforts behind it, then it could grow into, this seems to work. Now let's create the ability for people to buy and sell independently, I guess.
Anyway. It's interesting.
Just thinking out how like product development ties into this whole world of how can people get to where they're going to go by creating that thing anyway.
Yes. Well, and I think it's what we see is that NFTs, and I hope this is what is becoming clearer and clearer to those listening, and is becoming clearer to me, is that NFTs are in no way a fad, and owning digital goods is a part of our future, and these smart contracts tied to these NFTs are such a significant technology. And what is weird today, is going to be normalized tomorrow, and then it's going to be very functional, the day after that. And so it's progressing, and I think it's paying attention to these developments and finding the opportunities, and so I'm excited though that they're paying attention to it, and it. I get so many people asking me about NFTs, and then when I explain it to them, they're like, "That's just weird," I think, and so I'm ready for it to not be weird.
Yeah, somebody asked me that last night. So you own Bitcoin then, and you own NFTs? I was like, yeah, a lot of all of those. But
yes,
that's the conversation I have typically, and then it becomes like now there's this whole education conversation of why and does it make sense, and you have to, in some ways, you have to justify your actions, and in other ways, it's like, yeah, I don't really care. But the analogy I keep coming back to that relates to a lot of people, like I said earlier, I'm not a gamer, but something that makes sense to me is everyone now in games, you can pay an extra $1 and change the person you are in the game to like, I want the green shirt guy so I can be unique. So you pay $1 to get a green shirt, and then it just lives inside the app. And that's what NFTs are doing. We were doing the same thing on the last video game I was super excited about was the original Nintendo, and like Mario and Contra and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where I like left gaming after Super Nintendo. It just wasn't my thing ever. But in those games, there were cheat codes to make your person look unique so you could show off to your friends.
Yes.
And that created value of like, man, how do you have NBA Jams had the big heads. Like you could get big heads if you had the special code, and you could tell your friends all about it, and you could shoot more 3-pointers or dunk more. And in so many ways, that's what NFTs are now.
Yes.
But now we're tying utility to them, not just, is it cool? Some of them exist just to like, it's cool to own. Like CryptoPunks specifically, they're a unique world. They're just cool to own because you're the first. It's the first NFT. So if you own it, that's awesome. Now it's the utility that comes with them is because you own this, you get lifetime access to VIP concerts or events. We've gone to NFT.NYC, NFT. I get it backwards. We've gone to that, and you get into exclusive events throughout that conference if you have specific NFTs. So it's used as a VIP pass holder in a lot of ways. So I'm just intrigued on how this is going to grow and how Instagram itself can do the same thing. Like if they have the money and the power to create all of this on your phone that already exists other places. So if they turn it into like, we just want to own all the wallets and all the exchanges, or at least where they're held, they could do that. And it could make access for everyone super easy. So my mind's just running as I'm thinking about all the possibilities, but I wanted to make sure I tied it into a real world example of Nintendo of 1988 or whenever it came out, and you wanted to have the bobblehead guy, and you paid extra so you could tell your friends, and here we are.
Well, and I think about, I was down in Soho the other day, and there was a line out in front of the Supreme store, and it's like Supreme is a good example of like that. Their T-shirts are not any better than the other T-shirts at the other stores that don't have a line in front of them, and they're like 5 times the price. They got a line way down the street. I don't know much about Supreme, but I know that there is a flex to getting the limited number of Supreme, shirts and hats and backpacks that are available.
Limited edition stuff with specific designers. So they're limited and creates value.
100%. And I think it's digital rather than physical. And that is just a mindset shift that I think we have to continue to make in this space. So as we talk about blockchain in many ways is that technology that's enabling the transaction and ownership. But I think the asset itself is a digital asset that we can own through the blockchain. And I think the more we do that, even if we don't love the asset that we're buying initially. It's helping us to understand it, and it's helping us to begin to think through how does this translate into my business? How does this translate into my hobby? How does this translate into what my interests are? And I feel pretty confident that it's going to translate, for pretty much everyone, just like social media has. It just seemed like it was a thing for teenagers back in the day, and now it's something that we do. Like if you're into crafts, you get on Pinterest and you have a social network for that. If you are wanting to network, my dad was in Rotary Club. Well, that's LinkedIn now. There are platforms that it's like that was built on the foundations of what teenagers were doing on AOL Instant Messenger, but now it's being done by 60-year-old businessmen, and so it really the use cases are going to become more and more, and I think Instagram, it's exciting to me that they're moving into this space as well, and I think we're just going to see faster and faster adoption as these kind of trusted brands that already have a critical mass begin to integrate them into their platforms. Any final thoughts, Justin, as we wrap up this conversation about Instagram?
No, I'm just super excited. At first, I didn't know what to say, but now my mind is amped up on all the possibilities. So I just want to go. Well, I want to create my own things now, but I just want to go research a little bit more, so I can report back more of what I've learned in the process.
Yep. Well, in the moment Instagram does integrate it, we will be doing stuff on it, whatever that looks like. Just like you and I, the moment Twitter integrated it, you and I got Twitter Blue, and we updated our profile images, and I think we're going to keep seeing how the space develops, and it's fun. Every day there's a new announcement of something interesting and exciting in this space, and we're glad to be right in the middle of it, and we're learning along the way. And so we definitely don't lack any or all of the answers, but we are wanting to learn out loud so that we can all learn together as we move into this space. For you, Justin, what's your biggest takeaway? What's your action item as you think about Instagram, doing this? What will you do? What action will you take from here?
Put me on the spot. I have no idea. I don't know if I have an action item that's going to translate into anything other than just learning, so more education. But I wanted to go, I Googled in the background of what is the announcement that Zuck brought up, and then kind of what's happened since, just so I could see, do I need to be prepared to integrate my wallet, and is there anything I need to do for that? That's usually a bigger thing on exchanges when there's a dollar value involved. On this one, it's just interesting to see, I wonder what he's doing and how it's going to get there. So I just want to go research a little bit more and see what's out.
Yeah. I'll tell you my action item, or where this goes for me, is it makes me want to collect more NFTs because I believe that as it comes to the masses, and the more that I'm holding in my pocket, because I was able to get to them sooner before the masses got to them, I think the more valuable those really good NFTs are going to be. And so I think it actually makes current NFTs underpriced and will increase the value. That's my opinion. And so that's that action item I'm taking. But we will wrap it there. Go ahead.
I was saying, I would agree on increasing the value, because the easier it can get into people's hands, the faster things are going to grow.
Yes.
So it's going to be exponential growth when that time hits. So smart move to collect what you can now from projects you support and understand the backer. Yes. But all in.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We will talk to you again on our next episode.